of this vein of like making progress, New Year's resolutions, reels. I feel like this is such a good time of year to work on your reel and like sit down with it and look at it. If you had to give, because our reels are different. Like you always
Yeah.
had a videography reel, then I always had an on-camera reel. What would be your maybe couple big pieces of advice for a sports videography or like a more creative reel?
I would even think that these little pieces of advice would also apply to an on-camera reporter's reel because at the end of the day,
Okay.
it's a video that you have to edit. So
Mm.
obviously it's different in content, but I think in theory it kind of works. So number one is like the pacing and the edit. Like you have to keep someone engaged. Like you don't want it to lull. The last thing you want to do is bore someone that's watching your reel. This is supposed to be the best of the best. So making
Yeah.
sure you have good pacing that keeps people engaged. You don't linger on something too long, but you don't confuse people. I almost feel like people are editing their reels and they want to show they feel like they need to show more than they actually do. In reality, I think glimpses of things are fine because you're trying to show a wide range of things in as short a span as possible. My other piece of advice would be advice number two would be have multiple versions. And I think this also applies like
Yes.
if you're a reporter,
Huge.
you cover softball, you cover volleyball, you cover football, you cover lacrosse, you know, you might cover track, you might cover a whole variety of things. Maybe have that one reel that shows like a snippet from each that shows how well-rounded you are. If you were going to do like a network job where you would be covering multiple sports, then that's perfect. But if you're interviewing for a baseball job, you really should only be showing them the best of your baseball stuff. Like,
100%. Yeah, that's
thousand,
huge. I think
yeah.
you need to have different reels. And I would even like expand it to because at this point in my career, I've only ever really had like a sideline reel. Right now, I've started to create a like color analyst reel. And, in my bigger reel, I put some studio stuff in there. But like eventually, if I was ever going to apply for like a job to be in the booth or an analyst or a play-by-play, that's a totally different reel. And I don't really think they should always overlap. Like they need to stay pretty true to the job.
1,000%. And I wouldn't even, I think it's a good idea if you make a reel specifically for an application in the same way
I
that you're
just
supposed to
did
build a
that.
resume, because your reel is more important than your resume to me. Like
100%. It's going to tell me almost everything I need to know.
1,000%, especially if you are, I'm speaking from a videographer, video editor perspective, but even from a reporter, reporters do video editing. And so a lot of times you would be editing your own reel. Like it's a chance for you to showcase your editing skills. And if you maybe aren't the sharpest with editing, if you're a reporter, then I would consult a video editor and have them help you clean it up
Yeah,
because that's going to take it over the top, really. My
it
last
will.
piece of advice is keep it short. Short. Only your best work. Don't waste a single second of the reel. I almost feel like 1 minute is the max. Like
Really?
for me, my reel is like a minute and 15 seconds. It's not longer than it's definitely under 90 seconds and it covers a majority of my professional career. I can fit 5 years worth of all the things that I've shot within 90 seconds. And I have a really fast pace and it's like that on purpose because you're trying to cram a lot in there and I feel like I could have taken the same amount of clips and edited out over the entire 3.5 minute song. But at the end of the day, who's really going to sit there and watch it for 3 minutes?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
when you watch a reel, you could usually tell within like 30
30
seconds
seconds.
if it's in the realm of where you want it to be. And if it's really good, you'll sit and watch the rest of it.
Oh, I hate that you're right. I hate that you're right. Especially like from a storytelling perspective. I'm like, but I want them to hear the whole thing. Like, no,
Yes.
they don't want
No.
to hear the whole thing. And I even have to tell myself that. I literally just redid my reel this month in December. And I was just tailoring it to the new stuff that I had done because in the course of like 1 year, I had gotten so much better. Also, I had done some more high profile things. So like, I don't know, maybe you have a reel or you're like trying to build an on-camera reel. One, like from the jump, like let's make that first one punchy. Mine is a very quick well told, short story, and I'm covering college football. So like off the jump, you see the Mike flag, you know it was probably linear, which is great. Covering college football, okay, she's doing like bigger events, that's great. It subconsciously establishes that like validity. And then from there, a big thing I do in my reel, and this is going to be totally up to you, is like I just want them to get a sense of who I am. Like I want them to laugh. I want them to feel like they know me. I want them to see how like personable I am. And so even as my reel has gotten better, that has stayed the same because it's who I am. I can't like fake being a different type of reporter that I am. Like this is who I am. You're either you like it or you don't. And that's fine because so much of the industry is like totally subjective to what are someone's personal preferences. So like go in all in on what you are, That's what I've decided to do. Because I'm like, oh, if you want a really personable, relationships driven, and a storyteller, like I'm your girl. I might not be as serious and polished, but I can definitely talk on the fly. And I want you to see that in my reel. You know what I mean?
1,000%. You want to showcase your strengths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to show, because that's your brand ultimately. Like, if that's the type of reporter you are, fun, outgoing, you're able to bring personality out of the athletes that you're having conversations with, why would you edit your reel to be serious and
right? Like it's not what I'm gonna do.
I've seen a lot of reporters that are younger, like it's almost like they think that people want to see just the stone super serious. I'm being super serious. This is so important what I'm talking about. That's the X factor. Honestly, what makes you different is what makes you valuable.
Yeah, without a doubt. When you go back and watch like your old reels, is there anything that like makes you cringe? Oh, because I have some.
Yeah, and it usually is like it doesn't edit like it's not as
wasn't
fast.
Giving what it was supposed to give.
It wasn't giving like at the time I thought it was because I think back to the first reel I made when, the first time I had used a DSLR camera to record video. In college they give you like these old clunky,
right
oh my God, they're heavy, they suck. Dinosaur cameras. And then the first time I used a DSLR camera, a Panasonic GH5, this camera is like forever in my Mount Rushmore, even though like I would never use it today because it just, once I saw that footage, the first time I'll never forget. I was at the NPF Championship of 2015, I believe. And wow, I remember just seeing like the slow motion footage and it was just so crystal clear. I was like, oh, we got something here. So because I was so enamored with how good the quality was, I would let the shots linger because for me, I would want to just like sit there and
stare at it. Like I shot that.
I shot that.
Yeah.
Where then like now I look back at it and I'm like, okay, we're hanging on this shot a little too long. Let's get to it. Like the vision is there, the concept is there, but it's more of like the execution. Where then now, like I remember when I did my last reel, and I haven't updated my reel in a couple of years now, but I was like, there isn't a single moment where I don't think I sit in the same shot for more than like 2 seconds. It's just constantly transitioning. It's like a never-ending transitioning reel because that's like what it has to be from a video editor's perspective. Like
fascinating.
It's almost like a montage. It's almost like a montage. So
mine, oh my gosh, it's my voice. My voice.
Baby voice.
From baby voice to trying to find my broadcasting voice, where I went through periods where it kind of swung a little too deep. I know you know these. Where I watch it, I'm like, who is that? Who is that? Like,
I
and where
remember
did she
for a
come
while
from?
you were going really deep with your voice.
Too far.
You were going really noticeably deeper with your voice.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. For more on sports media and working in the industry, subscribe to the How to Cook a Goose podcast.